Alright, thank you very much for joining me. This is Gulpain back again with Resident Evil Relaxation. So every video we just talk about Resident Evil and relax. So let me know what you think of this particular topic in the comment section below. So today we're going to look at, or we're going to rank some characters from Resident Evil. So this tier maker here at tiermaker.com has some characters in it, and we're just going to put them through. So let's get Resident Evil Relaxation on the go. Okay, so first up here we have Leon. Right, so where am I going to put Leon? Can I put Leon anywhere else except S? I think I have to put Leon in S. Now that's Resident Evil 4 Leon. Is it? I think that's Resident... Well, no, maybe Resident Evil 6 Leon. But I'd have Leon in there. More likely, is there... Hang on, do I know most of these? Is there Resident Evil 2 Leon here anywhere? No, just have that Resident Evil Leon. Okay, that's fine. But basically, yeah, Leon. Leon S. Kennedy. Learned a bit about Leon today actually when I was doing a bit of reading about him, that he arrived to Raccoon City like hungover because he broke up with his girlfriend or something. There's like a big backstory, well, not a big backstory, but a relative backstory to Leon coming to Raccoon City, which I found really interesting because I love the lore in Resident Evil. I just can't get enough of that. So Leon, what can I say? Leon, my favourite game is Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 2 Remake, so Leon has to go in S. Chris, that is Chris, isn't it? Chris is next. So I'm going to go Chris in A. So I do like Chris. He doesn't really have much personality in Resident Evil 1. Or even Resident Evil 1 Remake. He's not really fleshed out really until you get to sort of Code Veronica. He's fleshed out a bit more, and then Resident Evil 5. But just the steroid use in Resident Evil 5, he just can't get an S for the for the steroid use, because that's just not good. So yeah, but put Chris in A there. I might change my mind at the end, you never know. Right, that looks like Ada. Now is that real Ada? I think that's fake Ada, so that's real Ada. I'm going to put Ada in B because she's not really fleshed out, as she's more of a side character than the main characters. Plus, you never really know what she's doing. I mean, is she looking for her boyfriend in Raccoon City, or is she a secret agent or an FBI agent? You never really know what's going on with her, because I think they change her story every so often. But yeah, she's not as she's more fluid than the rest of the characters, I think. But anyway, Ada's okay. Jill, well, there's only one place for Jill, and that is an S up at Leon there, because Jill's amazing. Jill is pretty good in Resident Evil 1. I think she's a bit more fleshed out than Chris. But in Resident Evil 3, I mean, it's just Resident Evil 3 Remake and original Resident Evil 3, it's fantastic. She's also in Resident Evil 5, but she's a bit strange in Resident Evil 5. So I would say Resident Evil 3 is a Jill, full Jill. And then we've got, right, that looks like Barry. So Barry is in Resident Evil 1, and he's a character in Resident Evil Revelations 2 as well. He's probably in more of them. I'm not really sure. I'm sure he's in like the side ones or the spin-offs and all that. But Barry, I think he's probably the same as Ada, to be honest. In there, he's got the Jill sandwich line, that's about it. And then he's got the Resident Evil Revelations 2, where he's, going around with that little girl, but I didn't really enjoy that much. And then, who is it? Is that Rebecca? Is that Rebecca? I think that's Rebecca. Well, if that is Rebecca, she's going in S as well, because I love Rebecca. I love Resident Evil 0. Her and Billy, it's a really, really underrated game, I think. I love the mechanic where you're going around together, and you can switch ammo between each other. I love that. I wish they did that more in the games. It's similar to Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6, obviously, but I think in Resident Evil 0 with the static backgrounds, it's the backgrounds that don't move that much, apart from the train and stuff, but I think it's really well done and excellent. So Rebecca definitely up there. Right, Wesker is a C for me. He's not a very good villain, to be honest, because he keeps changing. I mean, like, what is his primary motivation? I mean, it needs to be explained a bit more. He is pretty good in Umbrella Chronicles and all that, but he's not a very good antagonist for me. I prefer like a more... Actually, none of the antagonists in Resident Evil are very good, actually. But what can you do? They're kind of like sort of like action hero antagonists, I suppose. So they have to be like big and bad and evil. But like, what is Wesker's goal? I mean, in Resident Evil 1, it's like to get combat data. I mean, that's just stupid. Oh well. That looks like Sherry Birkin. Is that Sherry from Resident Evil 6? I think it is anyway. Sherry's she can go there as well, because I'm not... Sherry's okay. but I don't really like her and Jake's campaign. And in the first game, or sorry, in Resident Evil 2, I hate her section where she has to move the boxes. And I don't really like the bit in Resident Evil 2 remake where she has to escape from irons either. So sorry, Sherry. Claire, only one place for Claire, and that is in S rank because Claire's amazing. Claire is excellent in Resident Evil 2 and remake, and also in Code Veronica. She doesn't appear in Resident Evil 6 for some reason, or if she is, I didn't see her. But she's not a playable character. I think that was because she was in Resident Evil Revelations 2, so she kind of had her own game. Oh well. Oh, Nemi. Nemi's going into S as well. There's going to be a lot of characters. Maybe I should have had a double S or something here. So regular Nemi or Nemi with the tentacle Nemi is going into S, but Dog Nemi can go into D because I don't like Dog Nemi because he seems to lose his like intelligence and basically like all of his his good stuff where he's he's talking and he's walking around. I know a lot of people don't like when the monsters in Resident Evil have like intelligence, but I think it fits Nemesis very well. And then Mr. X then, I don't think Mr. X is as good as Nemi, to be honest. He has limited intelligence. He seems like a kind of a less advanced Nemesis, but oh well. Let's put him in A anyway. He's pretty good. I like when you knock his head off. Sheva, there's only one place for Sheva, and that is at the top. Where's not C. Up into top into S. I love Sheva. She's the best thing about Resident Evil 5. I always play with Sheva as opposed to Chris. And I like when she gets involved with the other people in Africa as well. It's absolutely excellent. Right, so Sheva has to go into S. There's no debate about it. And then Hunk's going into D. I don't really like Hunk. Hunk's like a bad guy. So he's in Resident Evil 2 and he's in Resident Evil, I think it's 6, is it? He's also in 4 as well. He's like one of the mercenaries. He's like a side character or a bonus character that's not really fleshed out that much. I think he's a bit fleshed out in Operation Raccoon City when he meets the team at the start, but that's about it. So not really, Hunk isn't really a really good fleshed out character. Is this Krauser? We'll put Krauser in with Wesker there. He's like an antagonist. I think he starts off as like a friend of Leon, but then basically like he just turns into like a pantomime villain by the end of it, with all the quick time events and all that. So I'm not really a huge fan of Krauser either. Cut here again. Right back. Okay, the next person here, I think that is Jake. Jake, I'm going to put him at the same kind of, he's like a side character. He's like Wesker's son. Although I don't really like his campaign in Resident Evil 6, so I can't really put him at the top. He's okay. He's not great. This is Luis, is it, from Resident Evil 4. He's not really a major character. He doesn't really do much. He's just in Resident Evil 4 for a while and then he dies. I suppose I'll have to put him down at D. He is okay though, but he just makes a really, actually he's going into D for his sexist comment towards Ashley. And then, right, this is another antagonist. So this is Jack Baker. Okay, so where are we going to put? He's actually a pretty good antagonist, actually, to be honest. He's going to go there. So he's more of a victim. He's like a zombie, but he's infected with the mold. But he is quite good. He's not as good as Nemi or Mr. X, I don't think, as like a character that kind of chases you around, because he still like has his facets about him, so he's still like human. He's still like talking and stuff. So whereas Nemesis and Mr. X are more like zombies, which is what I favor a bit more than in the enemies in Resident Evil 4, 5 and 6. Some of them in 6, basically they're like just like townspeople and they can talk and all that. So I'd rather face zombies, to be honest. That looks like Hunnigan or Hannigan, is it, from Resident Evil 4 and 6? So she's not really a big character either in it, so I'll have to put her there. I don't know much about her. Right, that's Moira from Resident Evil Revelations 2. So Moira, she doesn't really do much, to be honest. She's okay though. Actually, I couldn't put her there. I'll have to put her here beside the bad guys in C. Moira's okay. She shines a light, a torch in Resident Evil Revelations 2, and that's pretty much it. She is part of the story. She's Barry's daughter, but not really a main part of it. Right, this is Helena, and I do like Helena. So I'll put her into B there. Again, she's only in one game, so you can't really judge some of these because they're just like in one game, or 2 games maybe, or they're just like a brief antagonist. So, well, Helena's good. She starts off, I don't know why she just doesn't tell Leon the truth at the start, but oh well, what can you do? But her campaign with Leon in Resident Evil 6 is quite good, so I do enjoy it. That is the guy from Resident Evil 5, but I don't know what his name is. I can't remember his name. So he kind of comes in and out, helping you a little bit. We'll just put him in C there. He's an okay character. If he had a game by himself, he'd be okay. This guy is awful. I should have made an extra section down the bottom for just like terrible characters. Actually, I think I will. add a row below. And I'm going to call it terrible. So he's going in there because he's just awful. I don't like that card. And this guy as well from Resident Evil 4. They're so just like, oh, they're just like, just really bad horror film characters. They're just terrible. I'm actually going to make that a capital T there. There we go, that's better. Right, and this is the mother from Resident Evil 7. I don't really like Resident Evil 7. But she's an okay character actually. She's a good boss fight. She turns into like a, what is it, like an insect or something. Oh, there's only one place for this guy, and that's right up there. Carlos is excellent. I know Carlos was only in like really one game with, I think it's one game anyway. Well, original Resident Evil 3 and then Resident Evil 3 remake. So this is remake Carlos with his awesome, you know, like bird nest hairdo. So that's absolutely class. And Carlos is amazing in Resident Evil 3. He really stands out as a character, like kind of like Sheva, even though she was only in one game as well. But they really stand out because they're quite well developed and they have like real personality in the games. Whereas other characters, I don't know, like you know, Jack Wesker and Helena, they don't really stand out as much as Sheva, or they're not really as memorable as Sheva or Carlos. I don't think so. I don't know, maybe it's just me. And Ashley then, oh god, Ashley here, she's like a secondary character in Resident Evil 4, but I don't know, I guess she's more, not really annoying, but she's more kind of a hindrance at times. And there's another one of those really bad villains. That was the guy from Resident Evil 4 again. Who's this? Is that Tyrant? That's Tyrant from the first game. Tyrant from the first game. I'll put him there actually, because he's not, no, he's just, yeah, no, he's okay. He's not terrible, like, so. This one is terrible though. This woman here from Resident Evil 6, she's just stupid. I suppose what they were going for was like the sort of like action film bad guys, but kind of crossed with like, you know, horror a little bit. So I think, I don't know, she's not great. This guy is actually, this guy's probably the best. I know a lot of people like Jack Baker because he keeps coming back to life and he's got a lot of memorable lines. But this guy was actually, I can't remember his name now, but he's actually a superior, well, I'll put him still at B though, but he's actually a superior bad guy, because it's more implied that he's like a serial killer, or it's more implied that he was actually bad before the mold. So I don't know. This, I don't know who this is actually. I'll just have to put her in D. I'm not 100% sure who that is. I'll put her in D as well. That's the character from the film. I didn't really like her in the film, to be honest, but I don't know, what can you do. She's okay, like, she's a good action kind of, you know, like female action action star, but I don't know, I feel if she was in one of the games it would have been better. Right, this is Ethan's wife from Resident Evil 7 and 8. Is she a good character? She's a good boss actually. Yeah, put her into C actually, because she is quite well developed and fleshed out, and there's a fake version of her in Resident Evil 7 as well. I don't know who this is. Is this Ethan? I'm not sure who that is, so I'm just going to put him into D as well there down the bottom. Right, this is, oh, it's Brad Vickers, I think. Brad, sorry, you're going into D as well. You can't catch a break, Brad. That is that Evelyn? Is that the mold girl from Resident Evil 7? She was actually pretty good as well, because once the old lady turned out to be her, that's a good twist. This guy is awful as well, the Resident Evil 6 guy. He's too extreme, like, he's just too, I don't know, he's just not I mean, like, when he's standing on top of the train, and I think it's just the game that he's in, Resident Evil 6, it's just some of the parts of it are so stupid, you're just like, ugh, can't be bothered. Right, this is Mikhail. Mikhail, I have to put him in. No, he's actually good. He blows up Nemesis in the train, and he tries to save a lot of people. So, well, actually, no, he blows up the train, but well, I'll put him in there anyway, Mikhail. Oh, what's this guy's name again? It's the guy in Resident Evil 2 remake, or sorry, Resident Evil 3 remake. I actually like him, so I'm put him there. What's his name again? Can't remember his name now. I'll think of it later on. Yeah, he's really good. I wish he didn't die. I wish Nemesis didn't kill him, and then you had like like an extra chapter with him in it or something, because he was quite good. He's like a computer guy, and he was kind of Carlos's friend as well. That looks like, is that the guy from Code Veronica? Is it Steve Burnside? I'll have to put Steve down in D, although Steve dies and turns into a monster, but his accent is so offensively bad, or so, like, just, you know, does any Canadian person talk like him? I don't know. Billy, only one placer, Billy, and that's in S. Get up there, Billy. He's awesome. I know he only appears in one game as well, but I just love Resident Evil Zero, and he's such a cool character. He's still got that mystery. It's still sort of up in the air whether his army platoon that he didn't really want them to kill the people in Africa, but was that like Sheva's, you know, because Sheva's family apparently was killed by some Umbrella people, so I don't know, there's still a bit of a mystery about that there. This guy is that the guy from Resident Evil 6 as well? I'm going to put him in terrible because I'm not sure. And Ada's, oh my god, I hated that in Resident Evil 6 when Ada had the second, the doppelganger. I think this guy is from Resident Evil 2 Remake. I think it's the other hunk guy, is it? I'm not sure. I'm just going to put him in D anyway. What can you do? Right, that's Nikolai. Now, Nikolai is good in Resident Evil 3, and he's okay in Resident Evil 3 Remake. Actually, he's not bad, actually. Again, his motivation is a bit stupid, though. You know, he's trying to get combat data. But he is a bit more... Actually, no, he's going into C because he fits into that sort of, you know, antagonist. Like, you know, he'd kill one of his own men for no reason. Those sort of antagonists. Right, that's Forrest. Is that Forrest? It's one of the guys in Resident Evil 1 Remake. He's the guy that dies. I'm not sure if he's the guy that picks up the gun at the very start. Picks up the hand with the gun at the very start, or if it's the guy's pecked to death. I can't remember. It's one or two of them anyway. Chief Irons is actually a good character. I wish he was fleshed out a bit more. In Resident Evil 2, he's like a serial killer that kills women. That's not good, but if he had a bit more kind of, well, it's implied that he's a killer anyway. But if he had a bit more, actually, no, he can't go into B because he's not really that relevant of a character. He doesn't really. Plus, in Resident Evil 2 Remake, he's a complete idiot. He tells Claire to come and kill him, basically. Oh well. Right, William Birkin, iconic. He's going to be... I'm going to put William Birkin in A, even though he's probably one of the most famous kind of Resident Evil villains, I'd say. He created the T-Virus, so he should probably go into S because there wouldn't be a Resident Evil without him, but I'll put him in A there just because he's pretty good in Resident Evil 2 Remake. When he's chasing after Sherry all the time, he's trying to find her. Annette as well, similarly. I don't know, there's something about Annette and William. I wish they had a better fleshed out story for the two of them. Obviously in Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, it's absolutely terrible. It makes no sense what they're doing, but I kind of like Annette. Actually, Annette can't be B though. Actually, this guy's going in. No, he can't go into A either. Oh, we'll leave him there anyway. We'll see at the end. Right, that's Kendo. Kendo is a D because he's not really fleshed out that much. He is in the extra modes in Resident Evil 2 Remake, and he's in Resident Evil 3 as well, and he's in original Resident Evil, and he makes Jill's gun, but he's still like, he's dead, like, so I don't know, you can't really say it in there. Piers is a tough one because I think he's a victim of I'll just put him into C there. I think he's a victim of Resident Evil 6 because it started to get really bad. He does sacrifice himself at the end and he's really devoted to Chris, but I don't know, he's kind of in between really good and really bad. I don't know who this is. Is this from Code Veronica? I'm not really sure. I just put her in D there, I'm not sure. That guy is from Code Veronica. He's going in terrible because even though him and his sister, they are sort of it's a good story with them. I had, like, in Code Veronica, it has the worst cinema where they basically, like, they're really like, it's a really bad cinema, and I hate it, and it just makes me hate if it is him and his twin sister, Alexia and Alfred Ashford, I think it is. That is, oh, that's the old guy, Spencer. That's Oswald Spencer, I think. Oswald Spencer, because he's the Spencer Mansion, and he's basically Resident Evil 1, and he's the guy that Wesker kills in Resident Evil 5, I think. No, he's actually going to have to go and see, because he's not really that fleshed out either. And then this guy is, I can't remember his name, he's the guy with you in Revelations 1 with Jill. He's okay, he's not too bad. Okay, so that's my tier list there. Actually, I had too much. Might have to zoom out a little bit to see them all. Right, so there we go. So at the top we got Leon, Jill, I think that's Rebecca, Claire, Nemi, Sheva's got to be in double S, and Carlos as well, and Billy. Maybe I should make a double S as well. Ah, well, for the absolute top of the list. Well, they're top of the list anyway. So that's my tier list for the characters. So would totally love to see some of your tier lists for the characters as well, or if you want to just write your favorite characters in the comment section below. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time on Resident Evil Relaxation, or Resident Evil Talk and Relax.